Our box is looking fantastic. That color plywood, we made a cool pattern, and I really like the way it turned out. Hey you guys, I'm so excited. Today we're gonna make this pattern plywood box. It looks fantastic. I used a very contrasty wood just because I thought it would look better for the thumbnail. So I have this one, it's walnut and blue and white color plywood. I also made this one with walnut and orange color plywood. Super cool. I used some nice figure walnut. It's hard to tell in here because of the light, but it actually looks really nice. I made this one first. I did not film making this one, but then the one we'll be making in today's video is this one over here. Without any further ado, let's get right into it and show you how I made it. Before we actually start making this, let me just tell you these two boxes are available for purchase now, and I will be having them on sale for only $99. If you go to my website or my Etsy store, you will not see them there, and that is because both of them has a very small imperfection. I'm going to show you what that imperfection is. And if you decide you want to purchase one of these boxes, just send me a message and I can make it available for you. Holiday season is coming. You know, people are looking for Christmas gifts and so on. This will make a fantastic Christmas gift. Like I said, $99. It's not expensive. And considering that the lid, it took us 3 glue ups to make it. And I'm going to show you the imperfections. So if you want to purchase this, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. The blue one, the lid, the colors bled a little bit on the sides. The top it looks fine, but the sides has a little bit of bleed out. So that's the imperfection onto the blue box. Everything else is looking fantastic. We didn't have any bleed out anywhere else. The figure walnut looks really nice. So that's why this one is on sale, and I cannot put it on my website because, well, it's not perfect. And then this one has 0 bleed out. It looks really nice. Miters are perfect. Everything is perfect except the rabbit. When I made the rabbit, I don't know exactly what happened. And if you can see it, there's a tiny line over there, like my blade was a little bit too high or too low. And so the rabbit has a little bit of imperfection there. You can't really see it unless it hits it in the right light. But I know it's there, and because of that, I cannot sell it at full price. So that is the issue with the orange box. Still a really nice project, and like I said, if you're interested, they are available now. Now before we get started, let me just show you the colored plywood. I'll show you the colors I have. They have a lot more colors, and I will tell you where I purchased this. I purchased this online. Like I said, I purchased it about 2 years ago, and it's been sitting in my shop. I can't remember the name from the top of my head, but when I go inside after we do the first glue up, I'll check out the order, and when I come back, I will tell you exactly where I bought it from. So I have orange here, orange and blue. So that's one color that I have. I have this blue and kind of brown. I have a brown and white. I have a green, blue, and brown. I have a bright blue with white, and I think this is what we're gonna use today just because it's the most contrasty, and I think it's gonna look good on the thumbnail. I have a red and beige. So those are the colors I have. So we'll be using this really bright blue with white stripes. And I have not decided yet if I wanted to do it with maple box or with walnut box. I feel like the contrast white with blue will look great with the maple. But I also think it will look good with walnut because, you know, brown and blue, they always go good together. So I'm still to determine that. So we're gonna be using the blue one with the stripes. I'm gonna put the other plywoods away and then we'll come back and we'll start cutting it. So when you buy this plywood, it comes in pieces of 41 inches on length and 9 1/4 on width, and it's a 1/2 inch thick. So that's the piece we're working with, and honestly I have no idea how much of it we will need to make this box. So I think I'm just gonna use half of this. We'll see what size we get and hope for the best. Maybe it's gonna be a very small box, who knows, but I'm gonna cut this in half in the hope that I can make 2 box lids out of it. So I'm gonna cut it in half, the miter saw, and then we'll be right back. I cut my piece in half and this is the piece we'll be working with. So now at the table saw, I am going to cut this into, let's see, I'm gonna overcut it a little bit because my glue up is not gonna be so great. I'll probably have to do a little bit of sanding. So if I wanna have about 3/4 inch when it's all done. So I'm gonna go with 7/8. So I'll start with 7/8. I'll be cutting this piece into strips. I'll be cutting it this way and we'll see how many strips we get and what it looks like. So let's do that and then we'll move into the next step. So now it comes the glue up. When I will glue these strips, I will turn them on the sides and I'm going to glue them like this. Now I have to be careful to spin all the pieces in the same direction, because if you can see here, the plank starts with white and it ends with blue. So if I turn this one like this, but then I turn this one the other way, you see this thing gets warped too. Then you have 2 blues next to each other. I want it to be a repeatable pattern, so I'm gonna go like this. So white will always be on the left when I glue it. So this is the way our plank is going to get glued up. And I think I have too many strips. This is going to be too big for what we need. When I'll glue it, I'll also make sure I glue it kind of like in a 45 degree, like that. Because we'll have to cut 45s afterwards. That way we waste less material. We screwed up. I'm gonna take the other piece and cut it on the length. Mistakes happen. I'll figure out something to do with this, guys. You guys, I cut the strips. I did leave a wider strip so we can use it for the box. That way they look like they go together. And now we have to glue these guys like this. Make sure you leave like a 45, because then after the glue is dry, we'll have to cut strips like this. So let's glue this panel up. To glue up these guys, I'm just gonna use Tide Bond 3. And I always put way too much glue. I would rather have too much glue on than not enough and have this thing fail on me. So that's what I'm doing. By the way, a cool trick, if you have a lot of glue, old glue stuck to your clamps, I learned this from one of my subscribers. To clean your clamps, mix equal parts of acetone, white vinegar, and warm water. And then put some paper towels, soak them in that liquid, wrap your clamps in it, and then put some aluminum foil over it to keep it from evaporating. Let them soak for 5 to 10 minutes, and then you can pretty much just scrape all that old glue with just a plastic scraper. It comes right off. It softens it, it melts it. Really easy to clean your clamps. I want to make sure I'm close enough to a 45 degree, so I waste as little material as possible. Yeah, I think that's gonna work. When I did the box with the orange plywood, that one did not, the color didn't bleed like this. So this could be a complete fail. We'll find out. I'm already having bad feelings about this. Bad feelings are forming. All right, you guys, I went ahead and cut some strips out of the brown and green and blue one because the blue one that we just cut, I glued it up and it's not looking too good. The dye is coming into the glue, is dripping everywhere. So I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to make anything out of that. So I will also try this one. Hopefully this one will work better. We'll see, but just to have a backup, we're also going to glue these ones over here. Hopefully this dye will stay in place. Very disappointed with the way that one worked out. Hey you guys, just as I was ready to give up on this project, I did run this through the drum sander and all that bleed out, it cleans out really well. So there's still hope. Let's continue with the project, see if we can make this work. I was very pleased with the way it turned out once I ran it through the drum sander. So let's see. So we have this now. So what I will be doing, I'll be taking this to the miter saw and cut a 45 here. And then I'll take it to the table saw and we'll cut strips of 1 inch. So I'm gonna do that and I'll see you as we cut this at the table saw. So I cut off one of those edges that was like this. And now we have a flat edge that will run against the table saw fence and we'll cut strips of 1 inch. I'll be keeping all these offcuts because this is where I'll be testing finishes. I want to figure out what finish do I need to use so I don't get bleeding and make a big mess. So we'll use the scraps for determining what finish will work on it. My hands are still blue, but we're gonna cut at the table saw. We'll cut 1 inch strips. So let's do that. So here is the panel that we cut into 1 inch strips, and I have to make sure I keep the orientation right, because if we look at every strip starts with blue and ends with white, so we don't want to accidentally flip it. So now that I have these strips, the next glue up is we have to turn every other strip. We'll turn it like this, 2 turns. So 1 strip goes back, then 1, 2. And we'll get this chevron looking pattern. And we'll have to be very careful when we glue up this to make all those lines line up perfectly. All right, so it looks like we have an uneven number, so I'll be leaving that out. So now we're gonna glue it just like this. I think it's gonna look really cool. Another thing I'll be doing, so I'm not going to film me gluing this because, well, you see what I'm doing here. Can you see there? So I'm not sure if you were able to see that. I'm bringing you in closer so you can see. I took every strip that used to be like this. So every other strip, I flipped it like that. And now we get this chevron pattern. And this is what we need to glue it like this and make sure that all these lines stay aligned as we glue it. Hopefully this glue up will be just a little bit less messy. Well, I glued it as good as I could. This piece did break in here. I kind of forced it with a mallet to try to shift because it's misaligned. So I think we're gonna end up losing that piece because it's not looking so great. And I'm gonna let this sit now, let it cure, and we'll be back when it's dry. We'll see if we can save the piece. All right, you guys, our board is dry and I ran it through the drum sander. It cleaned up really nice. As you can see, we do have that broken piece that when I clamped it, I broke it. And now we need to cut a straight edge here and then cut strips of 1 inch. And when I clamped it, my piece kind of, I don't know if you can see, it bowed, so now it doesn't have a completely flat edge anymore. So I'm not sure if that's gonna cause trouble or not. So I'll try to hold it down as straight as I could and see if we can get a straight edge. So let's cut this. So here is what we have so far. So now if I take every other piece and flip it, ta-da! Pretty cool. We get this really, really cool design. So now we need to glue this, guys. Hey you guys, the box lid is done and it looks something like this. It cleans up really nicely once it dries and you take it to the drum sander. And by the way, I forgot to tell you where I buy this colored plywood. I buy it from online at CWP.USA, I think. I'll put the link up so you can see it. And I like the way it turned out. So I made the box for it. I did not glue up the box yet. So, because I want to show you what I did. First of all, I did not glue up the box. It's just held together with blue tape. And I do this every time I'm doing a more complicated lid like this, because I want to have the box not glued. So when I make the lid, I cut it to the perfect size. And I have the piece here that I cut off to get it to the perfect size. And I do this because sometimes with this kind of lids, when you cut it, you might get a corner that chips off or something. So then if your box is already glued up to the right size and this thing chips a corner, you cannot fix it. But in this case, if this will chip a corner, well, then I can easily make the box more narrow or, you know, shorter. So it's easier to adjust the box if it's not glued up and make it fit the lid rather than try to fit the lid to a box and then if something goes wrong, it just doesn't work. So this is the blue version. As you guys saw me, I panicked. I didn't think it was going to work out. So I also made a red version. So this is from the red plywood. And then I also made the green one. So they all ended up really nice. For the box, I'm going to untape it to show you what I did. It's a very, very simple box. I do this design a lot. So when I untape it, I'll show you. It's just a plank of wood that has a rabbet on the bottom and one on the top. And I did glue that strip of blue plywood on the bottom, just kind of to pull all together. So now I have a piece of walnut that will sit on the bottom rabbet like this. And you see, I made the piece of walnut, it's thicker than the rabbet. So then when the box sits on the table, it gives it like a shadow line and it makes it look really nice. So that's a detail I like to add to my boxes. So today I'll be gluing the box. I'll be gluing this panel on the bottom like this. And then our lid, it's going to sit on top like this. So this is kind of the way the box is going to look. I still have all the cutouts, so I can experiment with some finishes, see what will work to not get smidges, because remember the dye, it does bleed. I did contact the guys at the CWP USA, and they did tell me the dye they're using to color this plywood, it is water-based dye, so when it gets wet, it will bleed. It's normal. Unfortunately, the blues are the ones that are bleeding the worst. And I can tell you that when I made the orange one, when I used this orange one and I made this color plywood pattern, I had zero bleeding. So that one didn't bleed at all. But the blue, you saw it, it was crazy. So I'm going to glue up the box. And then I'll see you back for finish. We'll experiment with some finishes and see what works. So we'll do that and I'll see you right back. All right, you guys, the box is done and it's looking fantastic. This is what we end up with. And I'm gonna tell you what finish I use on this. I've tried a few different things and the two that I wanted to use is this gel poly, which is usually my go-to finish for boxes. And then also this spray poly. And I tested both of this on the scrap pieces of wood And the gel poly was smearing the color because you have to wipe it on and wipe it off. So then I decided to go with this one instead. And this one did good on my testing. However, if we look at the box, there's no smearing. It looks great, except on the edges. The edges, the white are not really white, has a little blue on it. I don't know if the camera is focusing. And you can see that on both edges. And that it's not a matter of the spray finish. That's what I went with on this one. I went with the spray finish because I didn't want to smear it. And I think what happened is, as I was sanding this, I sent it all the way to 320. And the really fine dust of the 320 was actually bleeding into the white. So it was already smeared before I put a finish on it. So that's what I use for this one. Now for the other box that I did with the orange, for this one I used the gel poly, and because this orange plywood did not bleed at all, it gave me zero problems. The wiping off, buffing, wiping off, it was absolutely zero trouble with this one. So that's what I use on this box. I hope this was useful to you and you learned something new. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Skylar Ewing and I'll see you in my next video.